You've recently joined forces with Britain's GlaxoSmithKline to develop an adjuvanted COVID-19 vaccine. I've spoken with GSK Philippines' Zainab Sadat earlier, and she did make a mention of the adjuvant. But could you explain to us what an adjuvanted COVID-19 vaccine is?
Yes, for sure, Kathy, and thank you for having me on your show. I mean, this collaboration with GSK is part of the numerous collaboration that we've launched. And in fact, we have a candidate vaccine, and the role of an adjuvant is to enhance and improve the quality of the immune response. Therefore, by joining force with GSK, what we expect by adding their adjuvant to our candidate vaccine is to have a better protection, maybe a long-lasting protection for those who will be vaccinated with this vaccine. Right, another advantage of an adjuvant is the fact that it allows the reduction of the amount of antigen needed for one single dose of a vaccine. Therefore, in a context of a pandemic where billions of people will have to be vaccinated, having such an asset, it's really a valuable thing to have. So through this partnership with GSK, we hope that we will have the perfect candidate vaccine.
But there is a process when you talk about a candidate vaccine from preclinical trial to clinical trials. So when is that candidate vaccine expected to enter clinical trials, and how soon will it be available for all?
In fact, when I talk about this partnership with GSK, it's based on a candidate vaccine. This candidate vaccine is also the result of a collaboration with BARDA. BARDA is a US-based organization. BARDA stands for Biomedical Advanced Research and Development Authorities. And with this collaboration, we use an existing platform that has been validated already and for the use of a flu vaccine. And therefore, we want to adapt this existing technology to the coronavirus. And the benefit we get from this adaptation is the fact that instead of having to wait for 5 or 10 years to have a vaccine, in fact, we can shorten this period, and we can reasonably think that by 18 to 24 months, we should have a vaccines ready for registration.
But it's already a crowded field, Dr. Sinzo. Dozens of teams from universities to companies including Johnson & Johnson, Moderna, Inovio are on a race to develop a COVID-19 vaccine. I've lost count, but I've come across at least 70 plus candidate vaccines actively being studied. So what do you think is going to give Sanofi and GSK the edge?
I think I cannot talk about the others, but what I know our strengths. We have an adjuvant that has already been tested, validated, and used in pandemic circumstances. And we have our candidate vaccine that is based on a platform that already exists. So therefore, we have a critical advantage. But in fact, it's not a race between us. It's a race to have a solution against COVID-19. It's a race to win the battle against COVID-19. And in that context, this is not the only partnership that we are putting in place. To give you a couple of examples, we are partnering with a company that is working on testing, and we hope that through this partnership, people will be able to test themselves in the comfort of their home with the support of their smartphone. And if everything goes well, definitely this test will be available by end of 2020. So as you can see, there are many areas where we are working together. We are in it together, and it's together that we will find a solution. There is no competition among each other. It's a competition to win the battle against COVID-19.
Separately and on your own, Sanofi Pasteur is using existing technology, as you mentioned, studying 2 existing medicines as potential treatments for COVID-19. So how are you leveraging that to fast track in developing a vaccine?
But in fact, there is no connection between the two, but what is important is the approach that we have. As I said to you, we are innovation driven, but innovation in the context of COVID means looking at new technology, but also looking at what we have already in our portfolio. And if I take the example of hydroxychloroquine, for example, scientists around the world have demonstrated some encouraging results. And therefore, for this particular drug, we are supporting all the studies that have been put in place, including the WHO studies, to document the safety and the efficacy of this drug against COVID-19. So numerous collaboration in different areas, diagnostic, treatment, and prevention.
To your point on collaborations, you have a lot, and some of them with governments, including the U.S. Just how critical is it, these public-private partnerships, in accelerating the development of a vaccine?
You know, we've been partnering with health authorities for decades, especially here in the Philippines. We want to be considered as a public health partner. And based on this partnership and existing relationship, private-public, we have a common approach of the fight against these diseases. And to give you a concrete example, we have this donation of 100 million doses of hydroxychloroquine that we will give to 50 government we are in touch with. And this can only be possible when we have a private-public partnership. But of course, this donation will only be done once the safety and the efficacy of this hydroxychloroquine will have been proven through the ongoing study. And thankfully, we are expecting some result in the coming weeks, sorry.
And what about here in the Philippines? How is Sanofi Pasteur helping with these global initiatives in the fight against COVID-19? How is the Philippines aligned?
So in the Philippines, we have different approaches. Let me name three of them. The first one is really related to the supply of the drugs in general. You know, we have 80% of our products that are on the list of essential medicines. It means that some of these drugs are life-saving. So our first mission is to make sure that there is no disruption in the supply of such drugs. And here in the Philippines, despite the constraints of the lockdown, and we are working to make sure that there is no disruption in the supply. Another thing that we are working on is to play our role of reliable source of information for the healthcare provider. You know, there are so many information out there that we thought that it was important to set up a series of webinars to put the healthcare provider in the Philippines in contact with the expertise. And one of the webinars that we organized with some Chinese doctors, we had more than 1,000 people attending, healthcare provider attending this webinar. Last but not least, we like to consider ourselves as the companion of the Filipinos in their health journey, lifelong health journey. And we've noticed that due to the lockdown, some of them cannot reach easily their doctor. So we put in place a patient resource center, that allow them to be in contact with a community management team that will personalize the advice that can be given to them. And this patient resource center is open to everybody. You just have to, if I may give the link, you just have to go to medinfo.ph@sanofi.com. medinfo.ph@sanofi.com, and then you can express all your concern and you will have a personalized response. This is in a nutshell what we are doing here in the Philippines.
Talk to us about the logistical challenge. I mean, we're in the middle of an enhanced community quarantine. What's been the challenge like for distributing medicines to drugstores and hospitals in a lockdown, and how have you gone around these challenges?
We go around these challenges by collaborating with all the entities that are concerned by this. We secure the supply of the drugs, the medicine here in the Philippines, and when it arrives in the Philippines, we work along with the customs, we work along with the distributors, and all of this under, I will say, quote unquote, the supervision of the authorities that act as a kind of facilitators of all that is needed to be done to have the supply of the drugs everywhere in the country. I won't say that it's easy. It's extremely difficult because our priority is not to break the lockdown, but at the same time, we know that some patients rely on our drugs to maintain the quality of their health.
So how's your inventory looking 5 weeks into the ECQ?
So far, so good, and I cross my fingers.
Okay, because demand might just keep going up. But how are you keeping your staff safe while serving those needing your medicines?
We are respecting the recommendation of the government, and therefore it's a work from home. And also those who have to work, as I mentioned, for example, to connect with the FDA, to connect with custom, etc., work under strict rules. On the other hand, we provide our team with advice, with training, we keep them busy, in fact, and we have a plan to provide them with some PPE. This is critical, but you know, we are not self-centered. We look out there and we see also that there is a huge demand. We need to express solidarity toward the frontliners and solidarity toward those in our community who are suffering from this lockdown. And I can tell you, Sanofi is doing its part.
Well, thank you so much for making the time to tell us the global advancements in developing that vaccine and the Philippine initiative. Dr. Cinzo, keep well. Jean-Antoine Cinzo of Sanofi Pasteur.
Thank you, Cathy, and all keep safe.
I shall do.
Stay at home and express your solidarity.
All right. Well, I'm in the newsroom, but I will be at home after.